medication for his bipolar disorder,
children's mental health issues,
and
you know, one of
say,
the
you know, if
bigger
our son had
challenges. Leukemia instead of bipolar disorder, would we be criticized for giving him chemotherapy? And the answer is no, they wouldn't. So it's a huge topic. Our Critical Years series focuses on young adults, like college, transitional age, you know, the age in which a lot of these disorders, for, you know, most people, you know, become apparent where the onset is. And there's a huge gap in services there. But I am really, really hopeful about this generational shift. You know, we see it, like you were mentioning, and how, you know, school children will raise their hands and be a little more open and honest. And I see it in my family, you know, with substance use disorders in my family, for example. You know, I can look generation by generation and just see it getting a little bit better, a little more open. The youngest generation in my family is well aware that this runs in the family. And when they get of that age, you know, look out for it, let us know, and, you know, we'll tackle it. Don't hide it. Don't keep it to yourself. Don't feel bad.
If you're just tuning in, you're listening to Mindset, Mental Health News and Information. I'm your host, James Curtis. We are live from the NAMI National Convention in San Francisco on O'Farrell Street at the Hilton in the Mason Room, the Mental Health Channel.tv Lounge, the Mental Health Channel Lounge. You can find them online at mentalhealthchannel.tv. My guests are Rachel Eklund and impromptu guest Brenda Scott. She's from Hemet, California. The Mental Health Channel is based in Austin, Texas. Austin, one of the coolest places in the country, and I don't want to get in trouble with Texas, but from what I hear, one of the cooler places in Texas, and we're so glad that you all have launched this channel. I'm really looking forward to my conversations with the founders, Jeff Fraley and Harry Lynch, down the road. I want to shift gears, and Brenda, if you want to take off, you're not being held hostage, but I would love to talk to you. We've only got a few more minutes on the air, and thank you so much for joining us on this sort of impromptu walking in. We've had so many people walking around and gawking and looking over Rachel's shoulder, and you've been the only one brave enough to sit down, and I really, really appreciate it. The idea, I will take your card, and I'll give you mine as well. The idea, Rachel, that these stories have not been told in a broad sense. Every once in a while, and with more frequency, to be fair, we're hearing stories on different media. Certainly public radio has a lot of these stories. Individuals' stories come out when they talk about it. Celebrities we hear that have experiences within their family. Does it help, do you think, what you're doing, the work that you're doing at the Mental Health Channel, that people are just more willing to talk about out loud, and it helps what you're doing, it helps push what you're doing forward and makes it a little bit better for people?
Yeah, without a doubt. You know, I don't think this channel would have been possible, 20 years ago, 50 years ago, because people are just more open now, because the stigma has started to lessen. And that's really crucial. I think, celebrities and public figures speaking out and being honest is huge. That is so impactful and so brave for people that are in the public eye and are subject to quite a bit of scrutiny. It's amazing. And the people that are sharing their stories with us, both on film and just in person speaking with us, there's a tremendous bravery there, and something that I think is long overdue. So it's great to see.
Let's talk about some logistics, some mechanics. When people go to the website, to mentalhealthchannel.tv, when you go on mentalhealthchannel.tv, first of all, not unlike the mini documentaries. Can I call them that? Is that an okay word?
Right, yeah, sure.
Okay, the short documentaries, the mini documentaries on the Mental Health Channel. When you go there, it's a beautiful site. The site is as beautiful as the documentaries are. What's the best way if somebody's visiting the site for the first time, do you think, to kind of get into it? I personally always go to the About Us. I watch the video where you're featured. Yours was the first face that I saw associated with the Mental Health Channel. How would you guide people to go into the site and get in and take advantage and use what's there?
Yeah, I think, just like you mentioned, watching, what we've been calling the sizzle reel, but kind of the About MHC video. It's 2-3 minutes long, very short, but it gives an overview of, both the project and kind of our motivation for, this undertaking, our personal connection, as a team, where the idea came from, and kind of an overview of the channel in general. So I would recommend starting there. If you go to the shows page, you can scroll down and see, all of our different series, whichever you're interested in, just click on it. And, again, everything's totally free, commercial free. It's available to embed on your website, to show to your group, to post on Facebook. So we really want these to be a resource to get the conversation going.
Again, it's really so beautifully done, and I'm on that part of the page now on the shows. It says, what is MHC at the top, and you scroll down, you see that video where Rachel Eklund is the star. Okay, she's first, all right? Anyway, she's on there. I don't want to make Jeff Fraley or Harry Lynch feel bad like they're, redheaded stepchildren or anything like that, but you do show up first, and that's not my fault. Then there's some really cool stuff, and we're looking at right now, one of the episodes that Janice Woods worked on, Best Day Ever. I love that story, and I know it's not your story, but feel free to chime in about it. It chronicles a young woman whose name is Grace. It is one of the most heartwarming stories that you'll ever see. Be positive, part of the critical years. Oh, it's just talk about those just for a moment. I'm going to scroll through and we're going to talk about clicking around the website too.
Yeah, well, Grace Kim's episode, I think I've probably seen that about 50 times, and I cry almost every single time. So it's very powerful, very impactful. That episode follows Grace Kim, who's a young woman here in California, and she's Asian American, first generation American. And so one layer of her struggle is, how the Asian American community and, her Korean mother and father, conceptualize of mental illness. And, she's running up against a severe lack of acceptance and understanding, and just, she's a very resilient, brave young woman. Part of her story is that she's gay, and, the process of accepting that and understanding that and coming out was huge. She was very close to suicide, a lot of suicidal ideation, and she wanted to think back. She discusses this in the episode. She wanted to think back on her best day ever, so she says, what was my best day ever? And honestly, she could not think of a single day where she had a good experience. And so what she decided to do was take a walk around the city and just, stroll, look around. And she said she had a wonderful time, and her perspective was totally changed. She was no longer close to suicide. And after that, what she decided to do was start a project called the Best Day Ever Project. And she wrote down all these little things that she wanted to do, and just forcing herself. So every day she grabs a little slip of paper out of this big old jar, and she does whatever it is. And in this episode, we show her and her mother go parasailing, and it's this beautiful moment of acceptance and love of her and her mother, and just how far they've come, and it's just really beautiful to see.
It's really a compelling episode. I think everybody should do that. When I saw that episode and I saw that portion, she literally writes on slips of paper all the things that she'd always wanted to do, and then she folds them up and she puts them in this big jar. She shakes up the jar, and then every day she pulls one out, and she goes and does it. Even if she may not be up to doing it that day, she still goes ahead and she does it. I think that's a good idea for everybody personally. Okay, real quick, we've only got a few minutes left. I want you to talk about another one of my favorites. I haven't seen them all, but I do already have my favorites. Be Positive. That young woman, oh my goodness. I think I may be developing a slight dislike for the Mental Health Channel because I'm running out of tissue. I mean, it just tugs you, reaches in your chest, it grabs the heartstrings and goes, what song do you want to hear today?
Yeah, one of the main questions we always get is, how are you funded? And I'm surprised more people don't wonder if we're funded by the Kleenex corporations, because a lot of these, we focus on stories of success and hope, but some of them are real tearjerkers, and Arifa is one of them. She is a young woman from Bangladesh who immigrated to this country when she was 12 or 13, and she has she's dying from kidney disease, essentially. She's been on the kidney transplant list for many years. This is extremely tragic, really, but she was third on the list, on the children's list, when she turned 21 and was moved to 300, 400, or what have you on the adult list. So she lives day to day with, this physical illness, and she's just a brave young woman. And so with that episode, we're really trying to, come at mental health from so many different directions. For a lot of people, physical health brings about its own psychological challenges. There's going to be a student film on the channel. MHC has university film classes where film students from universities around the country are working with students in social work, psychology, to produce these, really compelling student films. One of these is What Cancer Leaves Behind, and it's a young woman with cancer and, goes into the psychological struggles with that, but the way she finds joy in the little things.
And there are there are 51 of these mini documentaries, more to come. Let's talk about navigating around the website, mentalhealthchannel.tv. Again, if you're just joining us, it's only a few minutes to go in the broadcast. You're listening to Mindset, Mental Health News and Information. I'm your host, James Curtis, live from the NAMI National Convention in San Francisco. We're at the Mental Health Channel Lounge talking to story producer Rachel Eklund. She's phenomenal. She's insightful. She's talented. I don't know how you get all of that in somebody who's under 30, but you're amazing. So we've talked about the shows, the tabs across episodes, about resources. That's pretty self-explanatory. When you click on episodes, what are we going to get?
When you click on episodes, you'll get all 51 of our episodes that are currently live on the site in order of most recent. And so if you're a frequent visitor to the site, this is where I'd recommend going. You can see which ones are brand new releases. So we've been filming and releasing content over the past 18 months, and we'll continue to do so. There's going to be about 2 to 3 released every single month. What I'd really recommend doing is signing up for our monthly newsletter. You can do that at the top of the page in the right-hand corner where it says newsletter, little mailbox icon, and we'll send out our new releases every single month. But yeah, take a few minutes to look around the site. There's something for everybody. There's a face for everyone to identify with, and our hope is that it can really shift people's perspectives and change the conversation for the better.
One of the links that I see on here also is the email us link. It says, if you've got a powerful mental health story you think could belong on MHC, we want to know. People can email you and say, hey, I heard about, or this happened to me, and they might end up on the Mental Health Channel.
That's correct, yeah. If you want to connect with us, please email us at mhc@arcosfilms.com, mhc@arcosfilms.com. That'll come right to our inbox, and we would love to have a conversation with you. We'd love to hear from you. Every conversation that we have leads us down a new path. One of the emails we got recently was from a woman who runs a brand new PMDD group, and, premenstrual dysphoric disorder. It was not on our radar. Now it's on our radar. We're like, we need an episode about this. Why not?
All right, as we wrap this up, Rachel Eklund, you've been absolutely phenomenal. Brenda Scott with NAMI and Hemet, Executive Director, thank you so much for just volunteering to come up and talk to us about your experience and your perception of this and the need for the Mental Health Channel. And would you agree, Rachel, it echoes a lot of the other sentiments that you've heard of people coming through the Mental Health Channel Lounge over the last several days at the NAMI National Conference here?
Yeah, definitely. And I really appreciate the work that you're doing, James, and appreciate you being a great cheerleader for us here at the NAMI convention. And the work that you're doing is fantastic, and we're glad to be partnered with you.
All right, that's it for today's show, live from the NAMI National Convention. Remember, if you like what we do here at the Mindset Show, log on to mindsetshow.com. Click on the Support Us tab. Buy something that you're going to buy anyway. It helps defray the cost for our program. And remember, take the time to think about mental health differently, because understanding why we do what we do can make us all do better. See you next week.